everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to build my version of an automatic clay farm in Java 1.19. This farm takes 3 minutes 25 seconds to fill up and it produces 158 pieces of mud. That works out at 0.77 blocks per second. Now if you want to see a machine that produces nearly 3 blocks of mud a second, stick around until the end where I've got a concept design that I can't wait to show you. The design is really only a concept just to see how quick I could make the mud. It uses far too much redstone, far too much material to warrant actually building it. But I'd stick around and have a look because it's pretty impressive. Now I'll give you a very brief rundown of how this farm works. I don't want to bore you and I don't want you guys turning the video off. I know you've just come here to make mud, it'll only be a very quick overview. The water bottles are stored there and they're spat down into a dispenser, out of a dropper into a dispenser. That particular repeater fires the dropper and the dispenser almost instantaneously. So the full water bottle is fired down into that dispenser. That dispenser fires it out into dirt, which is there, turning it into mud. It's then sucked back in as an empty bottle, which flows down into that hopper down there. That fires that little circuit. So after 4 ticks, that dropper fires, it's full of empty water bottles, and that repeater instantaneously fires that dispenser as well. So the empty water bottle gets fired into the dispenser fires the empty water bottle up into a waterlogged leaf, filling it. It then sucks it back down into that dispenser, and then it is sucked out into the hopper underneath. The hopper then puts it into that bottom dropper. These torches and that a bit of redstone there fire those 3 droppers, firing the now full water bottle up into the line of hoppers, which deposits it back into that dropper there. It's tiny. There's no flowing water. There's no bubble column elevators. It is beautiful. It's taken me a week to perfect, and the footprint of that bad boy is only 3 by 6. It's tiny, and it's all because of being able to waterlog leaf blocks, which was brand new, I believe, in 1.19. Be very careful of those leaf blocks once they're waterlogged. If I break that, water will go everywhere. Be very careful of that. So I'll put a list of everything you need to build the farm on screen now. Pause the video if you need to. And now we'll get on and build this bad boy. Just before we do start building it, I just want to say that I've not tested this in Bedrock. I don't think it works in Bedrock. This was not designed to work in Bedrock. As far as I know, this will not work in Bedrock. So please don't ask in the comments if this is going to work in Bedrock, because as far as I'm concerned, it won't work in Bedrock. So the main clay making part of the farm is going to take up an area of 3 by 6. If we assume that is the front of the farm, we want to start building at the back right of the footprint of the farm. So we want to start building just there. We want to start by putting down 3 droppers. Like that. They have to be droppers. Don't be putting down dispensers. It won't work. They need to be droppers. And then here we need a hopper pointing into the bottom dropper. And on top of that, we're going to need a dispenser pointing upwards. Now this has to be a dispenser. These have to be droppers. This has to be a dispenser. On top of the dispenser, we want to put a leaf block. We're going to waterlog that leaf block in a minute. We're not going to do it now. We'll do it in a second. Then we want to put down a temporary block. There and there. Pop that one out. And then we need to put a dropper facing into that dispenser. Okay, so you need to make sure that that dropper is pointing into that dispenser and that dispenser is pointing up into your leaf block. If it's not that way around, it won't work. Okay, I'm banging on about it, but it is very important. Now leading into this dropper needs to be another hopper. Like that, making sure the nozzle leads into the dropper. This is going to get confusing. Please, by all means, rewind the video and look over it again and again if you want to. But this needs to be in this order. Now, on top of this hopper facing towards the front of your farm, there needs to be another dispenser. Okay, dispenser facing forward. That's going to be the dispenser that fires out your water bottles into your dirt blocks to turn them into clay. Okay, so this needs to be, or mud, sorry. So this needs to be facing forward. Now facing downwards into that dispenser needs to be another dropper. This needs to be a dropper, okay? So another temporary block, and then get down underneath it and place a dropper facing down into the dispenser. Okay, you following me so far? Brilliant. Then, to finish off this little loop, we need some hoppers leading into the top dropper. Okay, so you need to crouch and you need to put hoppers leading into that dropper. Now you want to get yourself a solid block. You want to put a solid block down there. We're going to put a comparator on that block there to read a signal out of that hopper. So when the empty water bottle goes through that hopper, this comparator is going to detect it, and it's going to put a signal into that solid block there. You want to put another block there and another block there, and then put a blob of dust on there, and you want to put a blob of dust on there like that. That has to be a cross as well. If it's a circle, a little blob, it won't work. It needs to be a cross. Okay? And you want to put another block down there, and you'll need to put a repeater on that block there, and that needs to be on 4 ticks. If it's not on 4 ticks, the comparator will put a signal through the system too quick, and the water bottle won't come out of that hopper because this will be locked. Okay, so it needs to give it enough time to flow through the hopper into this dropper before that repeater fires. Okay, so it needs to be on 4 ticks. Then you want to pop around to the front again. You'll need to crouch and you'll need to put a solid block there. Okay, and then you need to stick yourself a normal piston on that block there. Okay, so when the water bottle, the empty water bottle goes through there, it does 2 things. It puts a pulse into that dropper, which activates that little system that we talked about earlier. It will also fire that piston, which pushes the now piece of mud out of the way, pushes it that way. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now you want to get yourself into the solid block again, and you want to put a solid block next to that piece of dust. So if you can just see the edge of that piece of dust, put it there. If you can't, if you're having trouble, just put a block there and stick a block on top of it. On top of that block, you're going to need another dropper. That dropper is going to be the dropper that's filled with your dirt. So you can completely fill that up with dirt. And go around the back, and on the back of this, we need to put a hopper. And on top of the hopper and the dropper, we need to put down a double chest. So you need to crouch and put down a double chest like that. Then you can just stick a load of dirt in there and it'll automatically filter through into your dropper. Then grab yourselves your block of choice and just fill in around here like this. This is where you're going to be standing. Okay, so you're going to be standing here and you're going to be placing the dirt on there. Okay, now you need to whip around the back again, and we need to put in the mechanism that is going to raise the water bottles up the item elevator there, the dropper elevator. So take out another comparator, and you want to put a comparator there. So that comparator is going to read a signal from that hopper when the now full water bottle goes through it. You want to put a block just there, a solid block, and then you want to put a torch on the side of it, just there. The torch is going to go on. Then you want to put a block on top of the torch, like that. Then you want to put another redstone torch on the side. That is going to fire the bottom and the middle hopper. And then on top of that torch, you're going to need another solid block. And that block is going to fire the top dropper. And then you want to run a line of blocks around like that, leading into that block there. That's the top dropper. All right, and then run a line of redstone dust around to there, and then going into that dropper, you're going to need a repeater on 1 tick. You have to have that 1 tick delay, otherwise the system won't work. So now you should have something that looks like that. So now we need to test if it works. If it's not working now, there's no point building the rest of it and then finding out it's not working. We'll test it now. So what you need to do is grab yourself a bucket of water, and you need to waterlog that leaf. So grab the bucket of water, the full bucket of water, look at the leaf, and then right click on it, and that'll waterlog that leaf block. If you break that leaf block now, you won't get rid of the water. The water will flow out and go all over your redstone. You really have to be very careful now you're dealing with a waterlogged block. It's the same with stairs and slabs. If you break the waterlogged block, the water will not disappear. So be very, very careful when you're messing around waterlogged blocks. Next, you want to grab yourself half a dozen or so full water bottles, and you want to put them in the dropper, the top dropper. Don't put them in the dispenser, otherwise they'll get sucked through and it'll start the system and it won't work. So make sure you put them in the top dropper. So you want to put them in there, and as I say, you want at least 3 in there. Put 8 or 9 in the top dropper, like so. And then in this dropper here, you need to stick yourself half a stack of glass bottles. Okay, once the system's primed, you should never have to come back and fill this up again. But you need to fill it up to start with. Put a stack in there. They're easy to make. And then we should be ready to go. Now grab yourself some dirt blocks. And then to start this system, initially, you'll need a stone button. We need to put a stone button on that dropper at the top there. Like that. So you want to stand on this block. You want to grab yourself your dirt blocks. And you want to put a dirt block there like so. And then you'll need to press that button. And then look at that block where the dirt block is. That'll move. You'll need to put down another dirt block just there. Okay? So as you're putting it down, the dirt's getting turned into mud. As you can see, I'm getting a new piece of dirt thrown at me. And once the system is full, and obviously they're going to get pushed forward, but once the system is full, it stops, but you'll automatically get thrown a full water bottle. All you have to do, as I say, is put that back in there. And you're good to go. So now that's working. We'll put in the mechanism that pushes all of that forward onto the drying rack where it turns into clay. So grab yourself your pistons, and you want to put a piston next to that dispenser there. You're going to have to crouch to put the first one down. And then you put down 12 pistons in a line there. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because pistons will push 12 blocks. So we need 12 pistons, like so. Now you want to cover those pistons with a solid block. Any block, it can be any solid block. It needs to be a block that will conduct redstone though. So it can't be glass or stairs or anything like that. It has to be a solid block. Then we want to go around the back and we want to put down the slabs. And this is going to be where we're going to put the redstone down that powers all of the pistons. Now, you need to put it, one slab needs to go in the middle of 3 pistons. So you'll need a slab there in between those 3 pistons. You want a slab there between those 3. You want one there between those 3. And you'll want one there between those 3. That one block there, because of how redstone works, requires a connectivity of blocks. Once you power that block there, it will fire those 3 pistons. So we don't need pistons. We don't need blocks down all of them. We don't need redstone going into all of the pistons because that one block fires all of the 3 pistons. And then you want to run a line of slabs down the back like this. And then you want to cover that with redstone dust. Okay, so now you've got something that looks like that. So now we need to put in the system that fires those pistons once the line of mud gets to the end. So to do that, we need to put down a temporary block and then grab yourself an observer. You want to put an observer down there. You want to make sure that the output of it is facing that way. The smiley face, the detection part of it, faces the pistons. The smiley face faces away from the pistons. Then you want to put down a temporary block underneath it, and then a piston on that block. And on top of that piston, you're going to need a gravity block, or a block that's affected by gravity. I'm using sand. Okay, you can use concrete if you want, but sand is obviously the go-to choice. Then you need to put a solid block just there. And on top of that solid block, you're going to need a repeater, like that. That can be kept on 1 tick. And then you're just going to have to run a line of blocks to there to connect to that redstone that you've just put down, like that. Okay, now every time the dirt or the clay or the mud gets to the end, it fires all of the pistons. And they will push 12 blocks this way. So in effect, you'll have a line here of 13 pieces of mud waiting to be turned into clay. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now we need to just fill in the drying area, and that's very straightforward. You need to pop out that block there, and you'll need to stick a dripstone underneath, just there. That's so that that block there will also dry. And then you want to put a line of blocks all the way down to here. And then because these pistons can push 12 blocks plus that one, we'll need 13 blocks that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And we need to fill in this complete area with the solid block. And then underneath every one of these, we're going to have to put down a pointed dripstone. If you don't put those there, then the mud just isn't going to dry. So these are very important. You don't need cauldrons underneath them. You don't need water underneath it or anything else. You just need these pointed dripstones underneath the blocks so they suck the water out of the mud, turning it into clay. And once you've done that, you've done. That's your farm built. So now all you need to do is go and use it. So grab yourself some dirt. You should have already put some dirt in there. Again, you can fill this completely full if you want to. Like so. You want to stand here, put down your block of dirt, press the button. So as you can see, some of the mud is already turning into clay, and I'm constantly being fed brand new pieces of dirt. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is no way to break the farm by putting the dirt down too quickly, because the cycle of the system just won't allow you to do that. And also, you don't have to worry about pointing at this side of other clay blocks or accidentally clicking on the dispenser, because all you're doing is looking at the solid andesite block that's underneath the piston when you're placing the block. So this is the last row now, so we're coming to the end of it. And as you see, when we get to the end, it will automatically kick out one more bottle of water, which you just have to put back into the system. So once all the mud has dried and turned into clay, you'll need to harvest it. So you want to whip out your trusty shovel. Now, if you get an efficiency shovel, you'll rattle through these really, really quickly. If you want clay balls, just have a normal shovel. If you want to pick up the blocks as clay blocks, you'll need a silk touch shovel, okay? So with a normal shovel, you'll get 4 clay balls per block of clay. Okay, doesn't matter if you've got fortune on it or not. I've got fortune 3 on this particular shovel. I'm still only getting 4 pieces of clay per block, 4 clay balls per block. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you've got fortune on. And as I say, if you put silk touch on a shovel, you're going to get clay blocks. Now, in fairness, if you mine the balls, you can easily turn those back into blocks just by sticking them in your crafting area anyway, in your inventory. So you don't really need a silk pick to do this. You can just mine them as balls, and then quickly turn them back into clay blocks if you want to. And obviously, it reduces the amount of balls in your, it reduces the amount of space in your inventory if you pack them all into blocks. So obviously, you can purdy this up if you want to. If you want to make a room around it, then you can, or building around it, you can do that by putting blocks here. and you can build it out, build a roof over the top of it. You can put blocks along the back as well. Don't worry about breaking the redstone by placing blocks around the front like this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to break anything. Okay, so you can completely fill that in. The only thing you don't want to fill in is that there. You can, if you want to, because the dropper will spit a block through another block. It will spit the dirt through the block there. So you could fill that in if you wanted to, but I mean, I think it looks okay like that. You're going to need to be able to access that chest anyway. So I wouldn't do that if I were you, but it's up to you. Okay, so as I promised at the beginning of the video, I was going to show you my concept design for a clay making farm that produces 3 blocks of clay a second. Like I mentioned as well, it's completely OTT. It uses far too much material, and the fact that clay only dries at a random tick rate means it doesn't matter how quickly we fill this farm in, it's still only going to dry at the same rate. So really, it's probably not a farm that you'll want to build, but I wanted to build it anyway just to see if I could. So what I'm going to do is enlist the help of Frilioth there, who's going to jump in and he's going to run the farm for us so we can stand up here and have a look at it. I'm going to run it at normal time, so I'm not going to speed it up, and hopefully you're impressed with this, or you're as impressed with this as I was. Okay, take it away, Frilioth. Okay, boss. Thanks, Frilioth. No problem, boss. So there you go. Say it's mad, it's brilliant, and it's completely OTT. But I really wanted to show you. So that's how you build my really compact automatic clay farm in Java 1.19. If you've enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.